Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the 2020 Sloan Sports Analytics Conference. My name is Lindsay Solitar, and I'm a first-year student here at MIT Sloan. It's my pleasure to introduce our final discussion of the weekend, a one-on-one with Enes Kanter. Joining us for this discussion is Boston Celtics center Enes Kanter, and the conversation will be moderated by Howard Beck, senior writer at Bleacher Report and host of the Full 48 podcast. The conversation will run for 45 minutes and we'll leave 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. If you would like to submit a question, please do so on Twitter using the hashtag #OneOnOneWithEnes. We will then select the questions with the top mentions, and they will be asked by our moderator. And with that, I will turn it over to Howard.
Thank you. Lindsay, this one? No, I'll take this. Hello. Thank you all for being here. Hope you are all still stocked on Purell. Enes and I have been able to have some of these discussions a couple times. Right. And every time you and I get together, we talk about some fairly weighty issues. So let me start it with this weighty issue. What happened to the Celtics last night and what's been going on the last 2 weeks? Because you guys have been kind of all over the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing we just need to do is just stay together. I mean, obviously, it's a long season, so we're just going to have ups and downs. But I think the most important thing right now we need to do is just stay focused and just go out there and just do our job. I feel like we believe that we can beat everybody on every court. And I feel like we have enough in that locker room to go out there and win a championship. So all we have to do is just, of course we're gonna have some ups and downs, but just stay focused and just go out there and have fun.
All right, fair enough. On to bigger matters. We've come to know you over the last couple of years in NBA circles, and folks who have followed your career at all, or maybe followed you in the news, as kind of an emerging voice among professional athletes and as an activist. Mm-hmm. How do you like that label of activist, and give folks some sense who are maybe not familiar with it, right, how you came to start exercising your voice?
I feel like because what I was doing way bigger than basketball. I feel like till my third year in NBA, all I cared about was just going out there and play basketball, right? And then I remember it all started, there was a big corruption happened in my country, home country, Turkey. And then I was like, you know what, maybe I should say something about it. And then I remember tweeting something about it and then become viral in America and Turkey. And then people were talking about it, and it became a conversation. And then I was like, you know what, I have a voice and I need to use it in a good cause. So that's why from now, after that, I was like, I was like paying attention to details more, what's going on in my country, what's going on in America, what's going on all over the world. So after that, probably I'll say it all started in 2013.
And I don't want to maybe assume too much on the part of the audience, so let me just put this as an open-ended question. Can you explain to people what's going on in your home country of Turkey, why you have needed to exercise your voice?
Well, I mean, like I said again, with the corruption that happened after that, it's very sad, because if you look at what's happening in my home country, Turkey, there is no freedom. There is no freedom of speech. There is no freedom of religion and expression. There is no democracy, and there's no human rights. And so just because I had this platform, I was trying to use this. I was trying to be the voice of all those innocent people who don't have a voice out there. So I was like, like I said again, Turkey right now, if you look at Turkey is the number one country in the world that put the most journalists in jail. I feel like over 300 journalists, just because of they're doing their job. And there's lots of innocent women are in jail, lots of babies are growing up in their jail with their mothers. So I was like, you know what, I need to go out there and say something about this. And then after that happened.
There's never, actions like this taken without some risk of consequences.
Right.
And you have had your share of consequences. And just as a short list here, your passport was revoked by Turkey in 2017. Yeah. You were detained in Romania that same year. You've been threatened with jail. Mm-hmm. Your father has been indicted, I think is still awaiting?
Yes, actually his court date is March 19th. So in less than 2 weeks, he's going to go to court. And if they find him guilty, he's going to be in prison for 5.5 years.
So there's been obviously a lot that's gone with this for you, for your family. When you first decided, I can't stand by, I need to say something, Did you consider where this might take you, with the risks to you and your family, or did you feel that, you know what, I just have to say this regardless?
I'll just say this. I didn't know it was gonna be, this much. But like I remember first time I started talking about these issues, of course, like you said, it affected me and my family. And my dad was a genetic professor. He got fired from his job just because I talk about, I want freedom and democracy in my country. My sister went to medical school for 6 years. Now she cannot find a job because she carried the last name. My little brother was playing basketball in Turkey, and he literally got kicked out every team that he's been on because of the last name. And then, it affected me and my family members were keep getting fired from their job. So they had to put a statement out there and said, we are disowning Enes. I remember going to a practice that day. It was probably one of the most awkward days in my life. And after that, when they put the statement out there, Turkish government really didn't believe that. They sent police to my house in Turkey and they raided the whole house. And they took every electronics away. They wanted to see if I am still in contact with my family or not. And if they were to see any text message, any email, any missed calls, they will be all in trouble. So last time I was in Turkey, it was back in 2015. And last time I actually communicated with my family, I can't even remember.
Wow. How do you stay in contact? How do you get any news from back home?
So one of my brother plays basketball in Spain. He plays professional basketball. So just because he's not in Turkey, I communicate with him and ask him how his mom doing, how his dad doing. He sent me pictures sometimes of my mom and dad. It's like, I look at him and oh, my dad gained weight, my mom is getting old. Because if you don't see him for so long, you can tell the difference. But my sister got married a year ago. And I couldn't even call her and say congratulations. But of course, it's very sad because, like you said, when they revoked my passport back in 2017, and it was very sad because a lot of people are asking me, where are you from? I really don't know what to answer because the country that I'm from don't even want me. They think I'm this bad guy and talking against his country. But it's very sad.
Yeah. How do you balance that? How do you reconcile it for yourself? And how do you continue to be so outspoken on these issues? And I know, you've on your Twitter account is very active.
Right.
I see you're meeting with members of Congress in the U.S. You're kind of trying to rally folks to the cause, but at the same time, every time you step up your activism and your voice, it's that much longer that it may be before you can return to normal, and even in terms of your family communication.
Right. A lot of people are asking me this one question. I remember, my past teams that I play for, the players were asking me, coaches are asking me, or the fans, are you crazy? They're just telling me, excuse my language, just keep your mouth shut, just make your money and live a happy life. But they don't understand my family is only one. There are 1,000 families out there. Their situation is way worse than mine. And if you look at all the reports, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Human Rights Foundation, there are 17,000 innocent women are in the jail right now, getting tortured and getting raped. And there are lots of babies in the jail growing up with their mother. So when I talk about these issues, people think that I only talk about my family. But, if I just keep it quiet, my family might be okay. But it's way bigger than my family, way bigger than myself. Of course, when you talk about these issues, you're never gonna get big endorsement deals, because a lot of the companies will be scared to even give you a deal because they have something to do with Turkey, or you're never gonna get big contracts or being, actually only deal I had, I don't wanna lie, only thing I have is a beef jerky deal. It's just very funny, but that's the only deal I have. But although the shoe companies and everything, they're scared. And but I think, like I said, it's way bigger than that.
Are they direct about it? When possible sponsors are recoiling, are they actually saying specifically, listen, we can't, I'm sorry, you're toxic?
I didn't tell this in many places, but I remember my agency is one of the biggest agents in America. And I remember I'm like, how come I don't have a shoe deal? Because probably 98% of the whole league has a shoe deal. I'm like, they said, oh, we're just talking every shoe company. And we recently just talked to Nike. They said they love you, they've been following you, they want to give you a contract. But just because of what's going on in Turkey, they're scared. because they don't want to go against the whole country for just only one player. So it's pretty sad.
Yeah. Are you still receiving death threats?
It's actually, we were just talking about it just today with my team security. I'm like, every time I leave my house, there's like a cop car waiting outside. And it's probably like, I probably get 2 or 3 death threats a week, probably on social media. I know people are telling me, like, are you taking him serious? I'm like, of course you gotta take him serious because of, those are death threats. I remember when last year I was playing for Portland Trail Blazers. All this stuff like were happening, and I was getting a lot of threats. I actually sit down with FBI and told them about some of the stories that I experienced. They said, okay. When I was in a road game, I was staying at a hotel. They actually came to my hotel and set up this thing. It calls panic button. They said, whenever you feel threatened, whenever you feel uncomfortable, push that button and we'll be there in 2 or 3 minutes. I always wanted to push it. I never pushed it. I always wanted to try it and try to time it. But it's like, it's very sad what's going on, because just this year, me and one of my teammates, Taco Fall, went to the mosque this probably like 4 or 5 months ago, and there was 2 guys was waiting outside for me, and there's actually a video out there, and whenever we left the mosque, they were just harassing us, yelling at us, calling me a traitor and stuff. And people don't understand when I talk about these issues. People think that I don't like my country, and people are wrong. I love my country, I love my flag, I love my people. That's why I'm doing this. My problem is with the regime in Turkey.
Yeah, with Erdogan.
Yes.
When somebody is accosting you coming out of the mosque, do you just assume that these are these agents of the state? Are these agents of Erdogan? Are these just passionate Turkish nationals? Like, who are these folks who are threatening you?
People, they're definitely the Turkish President Erdogan's people. Because there's lots of and I actually should pull up my phone and show you guys right now. They're saying, hey, we're watching you, we're following you, you're going here. They are giving me places that I've been. Like, say I went to this coffee shop, right? I get a Instagram message 3 hours later and say, oh, we just saw you in this coffee shop, watch out.
That's freaky. That's
it's
scary. How do you, this has become almost normal to you though. Like, how do you even get through the day without letting this kind of get to you?
I'm always with people, even like when I was here sitting down and talk to this, just this people, talk to FBI or talk to this, our team security, they said, just make sure, never stay alone. Always be with someone, and wherever you go, anywhere, you go in a supermarket, you go in a Whole Foods, this and that, make sure you text somebody and you let them know that where you're going.
Do you think you're safer in some cities than others?
I will say I am safe in America because I'm obviously it's America. I don't believe they can do any kind of operations here. But as soon as I leave America, besides America and Canada, they can, because they put my name on Interpol. So that's the other thing they do, that they're abusing the Interpol red notice system. So that's why that was one of the actually biggest reasons that I have not left America the last 2-3 years. Besides Christmas game we just had.
Yeah, and even in those situations, you've had to kind of, be kind of certain about it ahead of time, right? You had to make certain arrangements and everything.
Oh yeah, we actually, so last Christmas, obviously Christmas game is it's a huge blessing to play on a Christmas day, obviously, and I did not want to miss the Christmas game because it was in Canada, and then Celtics did an amazing job to communicate with the Canadian government. I actually got into touch with the Justin Trudeau's office to say, hey, they said he's good to go. He can come in and play his game and leave. It's not going to be an issue.
You've been around the league a little bit the last couple of years. Celtics this year, Portland and the Knicks last year, Oklahoma, Utah. What do teammates say or ask about along the way? Are they curious about this? Do they think are they the ones saying you're nuts for doing this and putting yourself at risk like this? How do they interact on this?
It's first just because of the family involved. My dad having his court right now. They took him in jail before. They put him in jail for 7 days. So it's very personal. So probably first couple months, they don't really want to get into this conversation because it's very personal, it could be very awkward. But once we sit down and just become better friends, I guess, they feel more comfortable asking me about these questions and these conversations. And it's those are very confusing conversations, but I need to sit down and talk to them like this one-on-one at least 30 minutes so they can have a better understanding of what's going on. Because you see all over the media, because of, Turkish government puts all over the media, oh, Enes is a bad guy, Enes is doing this and that, and he's using his platform in a bad way, whatever. But I think the support I get from my teammates and from my coaches, and it definitely gives me so much hope.
And what about the teams themselves? I mean, a lot of teams are, averse to controversy. They don't necessarily want to bring that on themselves, that kind of attention, and maybe they see some risk in that too. So when a team like the Celtics, when you have those discussions last summer, and it's Mark Bartelstein's your agent, right? So does it come? Do they ask Mark about like, hey, what's Enes going to do when he's here, and can he tone it down? Is there anything like that?
We actually sit down. I actually sit down with a few owners that we had, and they just said, we just don't care. We are going for freedom. All we care about is just go out there and get those offensive rebounds. I'm like, okay, that's easy.
and maybe defend a little?
A little bit.
Okay. But no team that you've played for, at least, we don't know about the ones you haven't played for, who maybe wouldn't have wanted you to bring you in, but the ones you've played for, no one's ever said, hey, can you?
They were very respectful. Once, like I said again, once I sit down and explain the conversations of what's going on, they were very respectful. We actually had I think it was like a few months ago, we just played a game, we won, and actually it was the day before the Turkish president was coming to the White House, and I sit down with our GMs and coaches and stuff. I said, hey, I need to go to DC, and they said, you do what you do, go ahead. We can watch the film later, you can practice later, but you do what you do. And I went to DC, meet with some, lawmakers and stuff. So it just, those stuff like definitely give me so much hope. And it just definitely, I'm like, what? The respect I get from my coaches or, from everybody, it's definitely amazing.
One more thought along those lines. So you were a free agent last summer.
Uh-huh.
Do you know if there were teams that specifically might have had a need for you and would have liked you as a player otherwise, but thought, we're going to pass because we don't want to deal with everything else that comes with Enes Kanter?
There is probably some teams out there that's scared of those, I believe, but I never heard anything like that before. But one of the biggest reasons I wanted to come to Boston, it was just because of, besides in basketball, this is a very educational and influential town. People used to come up to me and say, oh, hey, good game last night, good double-double last night, whatever, good win last night. But now they come and saying, hey, good op-ed yesterday, good article last night. So people know what's going on here. This city is way bigger than basketball.
Yeah. Have you always been this outspoken? Like if we met Enes Kanter at age 15, were you like whatever, are you arguing with your teachers for more recess or something? I mean, were you always outspoken?
I was, actually no. All I care about, like I said again, all I care about was just going out there and play basketball till my third year. And then my third year, I was like, I saw what people were going through. I was like, God blessed me with this platform. And I only have maybe 10, 12, 15 years to just go out there and just share my message to all those people out there. And why not just use it?
Yeah. But you never would have anticipated that in your adult life and in the course of your NBA career, you'd be known as much as a political activist as a player.
No, my God, no. I mean, you look at the articles about me, and it's you see like probably 20% of it is basketball, 80% of it what's going on off the court.
Yeah.
Different, very different.
What was it like, within your own family? Were you part of a family where, did you have some intense debates at the dinner table, or was it that kind of did you grow up in an environment where this kind of, just discussion was encouraged?
Me and my brothers was always fighting about who's a better shooter or who's a better basketball player, who got the better handles, whatever. But I never really got an argument or anything with my family members or any of my friends. I always try to take the easy way and say, okay, you're right. I know what I know, but okay, you're right. Your way is right too. But like I said again, I was always like this chill guy.
Yeah, a little less chill now.
Yes, a little less chill. Yeah, you gotta go for it. Yes.
So, this is not what you would have expected, but this is what you feel is necessary, essentially.
I believe so. Yeah, because obviously, what's going on right now in the world, like I said, I feel like what I'm doing is way bigger than basketball, way bigger than all this endorsement deals and all this money and throwing and whatever. Because I know once I'm done with my career, I want to look back and say, how many people that I inspire, how many hearts I touch, how many people that I helped, you know?
Yeah.
So.
As you have gone down this path and become more outspoken, and you've branched out too. You've been, I'll cite it in a minute, but an article in Time recently. You have become a consistent voice now on a variety of things. Have you met other athlete activists along the way? Are there others that you have looked to for guidance or inspiration?
Mm-hmm. Just this past summer, I actually met with Colin Kaepernick. I mean, I feel like I respect him as a man. What he's doing is, I feel like it's so important because he believes in something and he's standing up tall for it. And he believes in something and he's protested it peacefully. So I was like, I sit down with him and talk to him. He gave me some ideas, and he gave me some experience of what he experienced and what he been through and stuff. And so that's why I would say, Colin.
How did that come about? Who reached out to who?
So he followed me actually on Twitter, and then I was like, wow, Colin followed me. So I followed him back, and then we exchanged numbers, and I was just texting him and just keep updating him on what's going on with my family situation and what's going on with the Turkey situation and stuff. And just this past summer, I sit down and talk to him. He gave me actually a lot of ideas of how we can use this platform in a bigger stage.
Any particular piece of advice that he gave you that you can share?
I feel like the most important thing that he told me is just, he said, never give up. There's going to be lots of, people who's going to be with you and who's going to be against you. He said, just keep believing what you believe in and just go out there and just always speak loud.
You are not the only Turkish player in the NBA, of course. Ersan İlyasova, Furkan Korkmaz, Cedi Osman. I think that's the whole list at the moment,
yes.
Right?
3 of them, yeah.
Yeah. What happens when you see those guys?
It's actually, first of all, I will say I'm so proud of them. But whenever I see them, just because they don't want to get in the same picture with me, they have not said a word to me. Whenever, actually, I always try to reach out to them on, say, free throw box out or social media, Instagram messages. But they have not said a word to me because they just don't want to get into all this craziness because they are scared because they don't know, because in Turkey, just because of the regime controls the media, in the country they are making me look like I am this horrible person, right?
They've called you a terrorist.
They call me terrorist.
Or have said you were associating with terrorists.
Yes, and I answered them, only thing I terrorize is the basketball rim. And it was actually very funny, but it's so crazy that those guys are like way younger than me, right? And I always like try to reach out to them and try to talk to them because I'm Turkish, they're Turkish, they trying to represent Turkey. I try to represent Turkey in NBA, but like whenever I see them or I try to talk to them, they go a different way. They don't want to have to do nothing to do with all this stuff.
So you don't even know where they stand on all this, whether they agree, disagree, whatever. They're just
True.
they're just staying away, period.
True. I mean, I will say, once all this settled down, I think they're going to have a better idea of what's going on, but I'm just being very patient.
I mean, this is probably an unanswerable question, but where do you think this goes? Like how and when is this going to settle down? When is this going to become, when things are going to get back to whatever normal would be?
I have hope. If I didn't have hope, I wouldn't do any of this stuff. I have a hope for my country because, I mean, it's not the country itself, it's the regime. The problem is the regime, so that's why I'm like, that's why I was talking about, I was saying I love my country, my problem is not with my country. So I feel like we have elections in 2023, so I hope it will change them, but if not, we'll just keep fighting for what's right.
I mentioned that you did have a piece in Time recently and that you are using your voice in other ways, including on behalf of women's basketball. So I'll just read a quick passage from your piece. You're noting about the disparity in pay between the NBA and WNBA and also just the way people discuss the leagues. And you wrote, quote, Michael Jordan's flu game is famous for so many reasons, yet Skylar Diggins-Smith's playing her entire 2018 season pregnant only led to her getting flack for taking the 2019 season off because of postpartum depression, so she could return mentally and physically. Here are these women playing the same sport we are, receiving less than we do, and not just in pay. It's about being seen as an athlete regardless of gender. What motivated you to speak out on this issue?
I would just say this. I feel like they don't get the attention that they deserve, So that's why I was like, as a NBA player, I wanted to go out there and just tell the whole world that this is what I'm thinking. When I put this article out there about equal pay and how NBA players should be outspoken about all those, the WNBA players, I got a lot of criticized from so many people. But at the same time, we just actually, it was like probably 2 weeks ago, we went to the Kobe's memorial, and all those WNBA players were coming there and speaking. I sit down and talk to some of them. I was like, you know what, I feel like what I'm doing is right. It was just amazing to see that they come in there, they're inspiring people. And the one thing that you just read it, Michael Jordan's flu game, it's obviously it's legendary and everything people are talking about, but this, Skylar Diggins played pregnant entire season, and probably none of us knew that, huh? And it was like, you know what, I feel like this should get out there. So when I put this article, I got a lot of messages from WNBA players, and they were like, we appreciate for your support, and it felt really good.
Kobe, in one of his final interviews, I guess, within the last couple of months, had actually mentioned, he says, there's WNBA players get to play in the NBA right now, and I think you actually chimed in at some point recently and said you agree.
Yes, I did. I actually, like I said, I believe what Kobe was saying. I think what Kobe was saying, right? I feel like there are some 2-3 WNBA players right now. If you can put them in the league, they can compete for sure.
Yeah. Where else do you take this? I mean, you have found this voice. You have exercised this voice, and you obviously are very comfortable and confident in using it, and not just as a matter in terms of matters of your home country anymore. It's about other things. Are there other areas, other issues that are really moving you to speak out? Something else that you want to get involved in now that you have taken this platform?
Just because I start talking about different platforms, I was getting invited actually from so many topics. Just a couple days ago, I just got a invite from sex trafficking. 3 days ago, we actually did this with messages governor about women abusing. So I was like, you know what? I don't know how long I'm going to play in NBA. 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, but in that period of time, I want to go out there and speak about what is right as much as I can, because I know once I'm done with this, the platform might not be the biggest when I'm done with my career, but that in that 6 years of period, I don't want to look back and regret anything, because what I'm always speaking out at everything is way bigger than basketball.
There was a time in this league when guys pursued anything off the court, whether it was political or even just music, being in movies, whatever, it was always, it's a distraction. You got to concentrate. Go practice your free throws. Go practice your pick and roll defense.
Right.
Does it ever come into play? I mean, is it because there's a stress that's associated with this too?
Oh yeah, for
clearly.
Sure.
How do you balance it all?
I mean, now I've been dealing with this probably like 6 to 7 years now. I will say, I'm not going to lie, probably my first couple years in the league, it was affecting me, because I mean, I was going out there and play basketball, and you see one of your best friends just got jailed for 6, 7 years. I was like sitting down at home. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to practice. But now basketball is my escape. Whenever I step on that court, it's all about me, my teammates, and just go out there and having fun and try to get a win and play as hard as you can. Because I feel like if I bring any of these conversations in that locker room, it would be very selfish of me. Because this is not an individual sport that I play. This is a team sport. So you can have a family problem, or you can have the problems I'm having, or you can have a girlfriend problem, wife problem. But as soon as you step on that court, you have to leave everything aside. It's all about you, your teammates, and your coaches and the fans. And so that's why I just learn how to switch.
Yeah. It's you can compartmentalize. It's,
right.
Leave these things.
It was tough. Like I said again, I'm not gonna lie. First couple years was definitely tough, but now I'm like I know how to switch it off.
It's also been reported recently that you were planning to open a charter school in Oklahoma City, where you once played. What is that particular project about?
The story is behind this. I remember when I was 9 years old. you know. Where I grew up in Turkey was east side of Turkey, called Van, V-A-N. And there was lot of poor families, and those families did not want their kids to go to school because all they want their kids to just bring money at home. So that's why I was seeing those, you know, like a lot of my friends were not going to school. And that broke my heart because I was like, these kids are like 9, 10 years old, shouldn't be working, they should be going to schools. And I remember promising my mom when I was 9 years old, I was like, Mom, if I ever become rich one day or famous one day, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open up a school. And so the poor families or this can go to those schools. When I was 9 years old. And when all these Turkish issues were happening, right? America gave me so much. I remember I got my green card 4 years ago, and I was doing this podcast with this lady. She said, you know, after you get your green card, if you marry with an American woman, it's only take 3 years to become an American citizen. I'm like, interesting. I was like, okay. And then the next day, right, I was getting so much marriage proposals on social media. I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna wait. People are taking pictures at their home and say, okay, this is where you will stay. This is where I will stay. But like, I think I'm gonna wait. But America gave me so much. You know, the people in America, the fans, you know, the coaches, teams, NBA gave me and supported me so much. And I feel like this is the best way to give back to America, to educate our youth. Because if we want to have a bright future, if we want to have the future that we want, and because I feel like lots of our problems are happening in our world because of uneducated people. So if we can educate our youth, we can have a better and brighter future. So I feel like the best investment that we can have in our future is education. So that's why I wanted to, especially what LeBron did, it really, really inspired me. You know, obviously he's Lakers and we're Celtics, whatever, we don't really get along, but off the court, I respect him a lot. I feel like what he's doing off the court it's just amazing, you know? So he inspired me, and after he opened up the I Promise, I was like, you know what, I'm not making what LeBron is making, but I feel like this is the best way to give back to America.
Why in Oklahoma in particular? Obviously, a lot of places you could have opened it up.
Right.
Is this the beginning of are there going to be a series of these?
This is actually the beginning. This is actually because I played in Oklahoma 2.5 years and went to the Western Conference Finals. I know so many people there. I know the mayor, the senators, and so many lawmakers there. So they're just making the process very easy on me. So that's why I was like, this is my first one. Just give back to Oklahoma.
I'm thinking of all the places you've played. Probably the land is cheapest there too, right?
There you go.
The real estate.
That's one of them. Yeah.
Got to build it somewhere. You mentioned LeBron. You guys have actually tweaked each other a little bit on social media and otherwise. There's been like some fun stuff. But I know you're a big pro wrestling fan too, though. So like I don't know how much of that is just for show, for entertainment. Right. But what is that dynamic?
Obviously, of course, I hate him on the court because he's so good. But off the court, like I said again, I have so much respect for him. But on the court, obviously, you're gonna do everything to get under his skin. It never works. But I'm not tired of trying, you know. But it's just, like I said again, he's one of the best that ever played this game. And obviously, on and off the court, he's amazing. But I feel like what he's doing bigger than basketball is inspiring so many people. So many people out there. And I feel like when he's done with playing basketball, he's not just going to be known as just a basketball player. He's going to be more than just a basketball, more than an athlete. That's what he was using. He's just going to be more than an athlete. So that's why he inspired me. I hope he will inspire so many other NBA players.
He's obviously made that very much a hallmark of his career, especially in the last 5 or so years.
Right.
And it feels like a lot of other guys have followed suit too. Like in the NBA in particular, it seems like guys are very comfortable now deciding, you know what, I'm going to plant my flag on this issue or be active in the community in this way. That's not necessarily as prominent in the other sports. Yeah. Is there can a line be drawn actually from what LeBron has done to you feeling the comfort level, or even others that you see around the league?
I will say so because like before, people were not wanted to get into politics or want to talk about this issue or that issue. But I think what now is like now Steph Curry, LeBron, or some other players are stepping up and they're using their platform to talk about some of the issues going on in our country. And I feel like, because all these kids, all those people are idolizing him. So I feel like what he's doing, he's just doing the things that, educating our youth. So our youth are just going to follow LeBron's footstep or Steph Curry's footstep and some other, basketball players' footstep, and they're going to do the same thing. So I'm very impressed.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of questions coming in, which I'm going to get to in a couple minutes, but a couple more from me. You're still on track to become an American citizen next year?
Yes, actually next summer, June 15.
Okay. So
I'm very excited about it. Yes, very excited about it.
What, if anything, do you think that will change or maybe even help in terms of using your political voice?
So I'm actually going to be able to vote. That's one. And second, the second thing, I'm going to be able to actually live America. Don't get me wrong, America has been amazing and everything, but you still want to go to some other places, The reason I cannot go because the Turkish government revoked my passport and my name is still on Interpol. So as soon as I leave America, just because I'm not an American citizen yet, the country that wherever I travel, they can deport me back to Turkey. So that's why when I become a citizen, I can just travel wherever.
Yeah, so with the American passport, you'll get that freedom back.
Yes.
But safety, I would imagine, would still be a concern, though, once you leave U.S. borders, no?
I mean, everywhere I go, we always get into contact with that government, and they always give us a promise, and they say nothing's going to happen, so.
Yeah. Before I get to these, just because Kobe came up in the course of conversation, you guys didn't overlap by a lot, but I've been asking everybody lately just because I'm interested in it. Do you have a favorite Kobe memory, interaction on the court, off?
Well, actually, after I get drafted, Kobe came to Turkey. That was when I was allowed in Turkey. So I was actually back in Turkey. Kobe came for some kind of event, and he coached a team, and I coached a team. After the event is done, he gave me a lot of ideas about how I should take care of my body, how the NBA life is, how I should keep my focus on what I need to focus on. And then he left, and our first regular season game was against Lakers at Staples Center. And he just turned around and said, "What's up, Enes?" And that actually was highlight of my career, I'll say, because I'm like, oh my God, Kobe just actually know my name. He remembered me. So it's just because what he's done with basketball on and off the court is just, I cannot just say it enough. I cannot say it enough. I think we should all be, blessed to have a player like that.
Yeah. I'm going to jump to the questions early because you guys have had a lot of them, and there are a lot of good ones here. So I'm just going to throw some of these at you. Have you seen your activism leading other players to speak out on issues that concern them? Have you inspired anybody else to do this?
I will just say this. I was actually just in the backstage with Jaylen Brown. I think what he's doing with his activism, what he's he's speaking out some other issues going on in our country. And I think I will say this, he inspired me too. I think what he's like I said again, first, he didn't know what was going on, and we sit down and had a conversation with him, and he said, "How can I help you?" And that gave me so much hope, and that made me actually very happy. I will say definitely Jaylen Brown. He's actually one of the smartest players I have ever played with.
You got a lot of smart guys on that team.
I will say Jaylen Brown is definitely up there.
Favorite story from one of the Celtics rookies this year? Obviously some Celtics fans in this.
Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to think. Well, actually, Grant Williams was going to dye his hair pink. I don't know if you heard that or not. Yeah.
I missed that one.
He said if we get a 3 All-Star this year, then he's going to dye his hair pink. But, I mean, we didn't. We only got 2. So I feel say Grant Williams is a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of my favorite rookies. He never stops talking. He always talks. He always goes there, argues with the refs. I'm like, dude, you're a rookie. You need to just stop, arguing so much. But I would say definitely Grant Williams is one of my favorite rookies.
And there's no other bets that are going to make him dye his hair pink, though, right? Like, there's not some other. Like
he made the bet himself. He just was in front of the media one day after the game. He said, if we get 3 All-Stars, I'm going to dye my hair pink. And everybody was like, okay, it's weird.
All right. Favorite moment in your quest for the WWE 24/7 championship belt? This one's right over my head.
Yeah. Well, it was a little interesting because I'm a basketball player, and after I signed with the Celtics, I was going through my contract, and they put no wrestling. They put that in the contract, actually, no wrestling. But I'm saying it's WWE, it's not really wrestling, so I can just...
You're not saying it's fake, are you?
I did not say that.
Okay.
I did not say that. But, so, and then I was in a MSG. I won the 24/7, champion. And as soon as I'm done, Brad Stevens texted me. He's like, very interesting. I didn't know you were interested in WWE. I'm like, yeah, coach, I did not know you were going to watch it, because it wasn't my contract, but I'm glad nothing happened. Yeah.
No calls from Mike Zarin or Danny Ainge on
No,
that one?
I'm glad, no. I'm actually planning to become a WWE wrestler after I'm done with baskball.
That's post-career?
That's post-career, yeah.
Wow. Do you have to come up with some whole alter ego for that and everything, too?
We still thinking about the name.
Workshop it with the audience here?
One of the names that they come up with, actually my teammate come up with that name, is Turkish Delight. I don't know. I don't know if you ever heard that. Very interesting name.
Works. What is your advice for aspiring leaders, not just in basketball, to have the guts to use their voice to make positive change?
I'll just, I will just say this. Don't be scared. Definitely don't be scared. And whatever you believe in, and just stand up tall for it. Even if it means, actually, that's a commercial. I'm taking it from commercial, but sacrificing everything, because I feel like what I'm doing is, what we doing is off the court is way bigger than basketball. You get into basketball, play for 48 minutes, it's cool and everything, but it's always ask that question to yourself: how many people that you're inspiring, how many people are you affecting, how many lives you're touching. So my thing is that definitely don't be scared and no regrets.
I'm going to read this one solely for the comic relief here, and I think it's more of a rhetorical question. It says, I'm a Knicks fan. Can you come back to save us, please?
There's lots of cameras in this. But no.
You already got yourself in enough trouble with the Knicks the last time you were on my podcast, no. So we could,
I'll just say this, man. All we can do is, I guess, pray for the Knicks from after this point. But hey, Celtics been amazing, man. Obviously, it's winning feels good. After I came to the Celtics, one thing that they told me, they said, "We never tank." I'm like, "Thank you." They said, "We never tank," because it's obviously just with this winning culture, this atmosphere, this crowd definitely gets you going. So with the Knicks, no, I'm good. I'm good here. I'm happy here.
Fair enough. On that note, someone's curious about reuniting with Gordon Hayward, who you had played with previously in Utah. What's that like getting to play?
Gordon Hayward, first time I hear about Gordon Hayward, first probably, I played with him 3.5 years in Utah, probably his haircut. His haircut was one of the most terrible haircut I ever had when he was in Utah. But now he's all that GQ look and stuff. But Gordon Hayward is an amazing guy, man. He's obviously on and off the court, amazing friends. People don't know he's actually very funny. People always see this very quiet guy on the court and stuff, but he's actually a very talker off the court, very funny guy. He's actually one of my really good teammates that I had.
There's a lot of hair gel going on there, isn't there?
After you play 48 minutes, his hair is just still the same.
I'm like, right? Do you get hurt? Like you hit that too hard? Like it just looks like it's...
I'm going to go try to mess it up tomorrow, see if it's...
you should, just to mess with him. When was the last time you gave Steven Adams a hug? I don't know if Steven Adams needs a hug, but someone's...
I'm actually texting him today. We might go out to eat after.
Oh,
after
that's right.
This. Yeah, we're going to play against him tomorrow. Steven Adams is a very interesting guy. Yeah. We had this Stash Bros going on. I don't know if you guys heard that before, but he lived that, me and him had a stash. Because, I really wanted to get like a American culture. And they told me about this November, no shave November or something. They said, oh yeah, we don't shave in November. I'm like, this is weird, okay. So me and Steven Adams left a mustache, and it actually became a thing, and it was pretty funny. We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but how do you compartmentalize
all this? Like, is there what do you do to kind of move on from, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to do my political, and then it's time to get to work. Do you actually have to like mentally focus on that? Is there a way to kind of psych yourself out to go one direction or the other?
Because I know the more success, the more wins we want, the more successful that I am in, or my team is, the bigger voice that I'm going to have. So that's why every time I'm out there, I really don't care about anything else but just go out there, having fun and winning. So that's why it's all about, I think it's all about it's in your mind. So whenever just go out there, just shut off everything. It's all about, like I said again, you, your teammates, your coaches, going out there, entertain people. And like I said again, I don't want to be selfish, because I don't want to bring any of this conversation in the locker room.
Yeah. And yet it does come up at times, right? Because teammates have asked.
They always ask. Yeah, they always ask because they're worried. Because when they see all these articles out there, when they see, oh, my name is on Interpol, when they see that, about the FBI panic button, when they see, all that other stuff, death threats and everything, they're worried for their teammates, for their brothers. So that's why they always asking me all these good questions. But like I said again, whenever I'm done talking to them, they always ask me the same question: how can we help?
Which I think kind of dovetails a little bit with this question. How do you cope with the emotional toll of not being able to be with your family or have that support network that other players have? So, like, what substitutes for that?
It's definitely tough, man, because NBA life is one of the most stressful and tough life that you can have, because all this criticize, all this and that. But I hear from a lot of my teammates, in the end of the day, it doesn't matter how bad of a game you had. When you go home to your family, to your kids, to your wife, whatever, then you forget about everything, right? See, I don't have that. I go home and I say, who can I reach out to? Which lawmaker I can reach out to and tell them about my story, so maybe we can pass a legislation in the Senate, or we can pass a bill in the House. So it's like, I feel like after a while, you just don't feel anything. All you have to do is just go out there and ask the one question to yourself: how can I help people?
You've been making the rounds in the Capitol, and you've met with a lot of legislators. Right. What are you hoping to get out of them in particular? Is it just a matter of putting pressure on Erdogan's regime, or is what do you hope to get from them in terms of support or change? So
there is different kind of, the one legislation we're trying to pass in the Senate is the Turkey Human Rights Act. That act is freeing all the political prisoners in Turkey. The other one is I'm doing with another senator is about Interpol. And another one I'm doing with a congressman is, just trying to help all the Kurdish people out there in Turkey. So whenever I go out there, I always try to, just try to do trying to pass some kind of bill, try to meet with this, both sides, Republicans and Democrats and, all these people. And when I tell them about my story and all these issues going on in Turkey, they always stop me in the middle. And they said, don't worry about it. We already know all these conversations. How can we help you? Just this past summer, I was actually meeting with Mr. Bill and Hillary Clinton, and they were the one giving me some ideas. And how can I help all these people in Turkey? They said, okay, you had this platform, people know your story, but why don't you just bring more people into your platform and show the whole world that what's going on to them, but not just you. So they were just giving me some different kind of ideas and everything. So it's been very helpful for sure.
On a lighter note, who's the best trash talker in the NBA?
So I've been in the league for 9 years. I will say it was Kevin Garnett for sure. It was definitely for Kevin Garnett for sure. But now I will say, I'm trying to think. Probably Draymond Green is probably up there. Definitely, probably Draymond Green is pretty up there. I'll probably say him, yeah.
He trashed Charles Barkley pretty well yesterday.
He did, yes, I did see that, yeah. I did see that.
I think your discussion of the marriage proposals has possibly sparked this one. Will we see you on The Bachelor anytime soon? We're the TV show The Bachelor?
Yeah, I know about that, yeah. So I'm gonna tell you guys a very funny story actually. So when I actually came to America, I was going to college. I was like, you know what? I really want to get this American culture. So I was going to McDonald's. I was like doing all this American stuff, right? I told one of my friends, I'm like, where can I learn the street language, right? This guy said there's a show called Jersey Shore. I swear. They said, you start watching that show, you're gonna become an American. I'm like, I have no idea what Jersey Shore is. So I went to my, dorm. I went to my dorm and started watching. I turned the TV on and started watching this Jersey Shore. I was watching Mike the Situation, Suniki, Pauly D, and all that stuff. I'm like, this is the weirdest show ever, but I got addicted. So I'm actually right now really good friends with Mike the Situation. We text on Twitter and stuff. I swear, like we text on Twitter. He likes my stuff. I like his stuff, and it's very weird.
I did not see that coming.
Yes, Jersey Shore.
Please don't hold that show against us.
Okay.
It's not representative.
Yeah, it was my friend's fault.
Apparently. Time for a few more here. Since we are at an analytics conference, say that 5 times fast. As a player, what are your interactions with the analytics staff? Obviously, Mike Zarin, the assistant GM, is quite the devotee of the numbers and a fixture at this conference. So what is the information exchange like between the analytics staff and the players for the Celtics?
I would just say this. I was just on Jaylen Brown's, he was just giving like a Jaylen Brown's conference. I was talking to Mike Zarin and some of the people that, in this conference. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting, because now all this analytics, all this numbers and everything, I feel like the game is becoming, next level. The players are now, I feel like it just putting the game in a next level. The players are becoming even better now. And I will say this, it's, I did not know all the analytics or numbers, anything till this year. I learned all this in Boston. Till every team I play for, Portland, OKC, or, New York and everything, we did not have any of this.
Really?
Or maybe we did that I didn't know about. But here now, all this, the people we had, the GMs that we had, all this, all the guys we had, they are educating players, and it's very interesting to hear about some of the stories. I'm impressed.
Has it changed anything in terms of your own game as they come to you with something where you said, oh, you know what? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take more of this shot, or I'm going to position myself here.
Every after the game, they're sending us clips. Every after the game, they're giving us some, like little details that I will never know. But I think, yes, it helping our game a lot for sure.
I'm surprised that just as you run down the list, like Oklahoma is a place with Sam Presti, I would have thought would have been very much.
Maybe we had it, but I didn't know about. But
they were
here,
sneaking it into the scouting report somehow.
Maybe, but like here is definitely off the charge. I mean, it's definitely amazing. Maybe it's Boston, that's why. There
was an interesting a discussion earlier in the afternoon where they were talking about, obviously the emergence of the three-pointer and everything else, and bigs shooting threes and bigs playing more like smalls. And Sue Bird actually said, I'm afraid for us, the smaller players, because if the bigs can all do the stuff that we do,
right?
Is there something to that?
I mean, just the game is changing so much, man. I mean, now I remember first time I came in the league, there was so many back-to-basket players. But now you see that you're gonna be able to do everything. You're gonna be able to do roll, pop, shoot threes, play post-up, face-up game, and everything. But so, like I said again, game is changing so much, so you're just gonna be able to adjust your game to that new game.
Yeah. Couple more before we wrap. What lessons would you give to athletes taking on social causes? What would you advise them or tell them to maybe do differently?
I would just say this, man. Just like I said it before, don't be scared. I feel like all these problems that we are experiencing just because of our maybe leaders or the people who have our platform we're not speaking about these issues. But now with all the social media, all this internet and everything, we have a huge platform. So use this platform, not just basketball players, football players, actors, singers, rappers, because all these kids are idolizing you. All these kids are following your footsteps. So just go out there, talk about the importance, because you live in this country. So talk about these issues, and you can try to fight for a better future.
and then we'll leave on this one. When are you going to bring a championship to the City of Champions? Says the out there.
That's a very good one. Well, this year, I hope, because that's the goal. Because I believe, man, because a lot of people are asking that question always, like, hey, if you can do it or not. I mean, I say this every time, man. If I didn't believe it, I wouldn't sign with the Celtics. That was one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to, come and sign with the Celtics because of the championship. Because I feel like we have enough in that locker room to go out there and win a championship. But all we have to do is just build that chemistry and just go out there and just have fun.
As a fan of lobster rolls, I am all for a deep run by the Celtics that gets me back here a few more times. So, Enes, this has been fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.